basics like A, B, C, D, you cannot make the sentences, right? So you cannot go further. So all these are basics. So last class we discussed about who are we. It's very basic. Unless we know who are we, what is our identity, real identity. I'm not talking about relative identity. Like relative identity, I can say I am right now, I am this and this person, but that is only for this birth. Now, in previous births, I may be some other person. So that means that relative identity is keep changing every time I take birth. But the identity which does not change is what is the real identity, which is ever existing. So let's get started. So I just did a live streaming so that we can, those who miss or want to review again, they can do. Before I start today, I just want to know here, does here everyone understand Hindi, little bit Hindi? Because today's session will have some verses. If you know Hindi, it would be easier for you to understand.
Yes,
Anyone?
we know.
You know?
We know
Okay.
Hindi.
Okay, perfect. Anyone who doesn't understand Hindi? Okay. I think everyone, at least basic Hindi, everyone understands. And sometimes it becomes like, personally, I feel like the past times or the जिनको हम बोलते हैं, what we call as I forgot, it's always good to recite in Hindi, and then that has more, you can say, juice, more ras. So okay, thanks for joining. So let's get started. So before we start today's session, it's gonna be again an interactive session where there would be some questions. So I just want to recap what we did last time. So maybe anyone who want to do and see, who are present, what all we discussed, anyone remember? Because when we repeat, and one of the things to retain the learning says, because many people often says that, okay, we read one time, we hear one time, but then we forgot, right? That is a common practice, a common thing which is there. So based on my personal experience, the way to retain any information is you hear, you learn, and you explain to someone. Once you explain to someone, that means it retains with you forever. That's how that's how we are starting this session. So whenever we explain, or I explain something, that means before I explain or tell, I should be convinced about that. That means that has gone internally in my subconsciousness. That's how I can explain, like not simply reading or somewhere, they explaining in your own words. So maybe Venkat Prabhu, do you mind just briefing or summarizing what we discussed? First, I chose Venkat Prabhu because he's also doing Bhakti Shastri and he has gone through this whole Bhagavad Gita course once. So when I asked who are we, what is our real entity, what would be the answer? Like if someone asked, because we are also discussing. So Prabhu, go ahead. Just summarizing what we discussed. First, I chose Venkat Prabhu because he's also doing Bhakti Shastri and he has gone through this whole Bhagavad Gita course once. So when I asked who are we, what is our real entity, what would be the answer? Like if someone asked, because we are also discussing. So Prabhu, go ahead. Just okay.
Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Like in summary, like last week we discussed about the Karma Yoga. Gita summary contents about how the karma is affecting the people. Right, Prabhu? That's the main special topic we discussed.
No, I think you were referring to your class. We discussed, we haven't started karma yet. So we discussed about the soul, the science of soul. Let me discuss. So we discussed who are we. We are eternal soul. That is our real identity. And we are covered in this material body, which we identify. So when any person leaves this body and we say this person has departed or has left, like people say this person has left for the heavenly abode. So who has left? Because the body which you are knowing for all long as is lying there, right? But that body cannot move. So that means some energy or something in that body has left, and that something is we actually. So we meaning our real identity is that soul, and we discussed that the position of the place where the soul resides in the body is in the heart. Hriday. In Hindi says Hriday, and it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as well. And then we discussed that soul cannot be cut into pieces, it cannot be burnt. And we also discussed about the size of the soul. Anyone remember what is the size of the soul?
1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair.
Yes, so that's the size of the soul. 1/10,000th time of the tip of the hair. So all of us have hair. So you see the tip, how small it is. If you divide by 10,000 times, that is the size of soul. So that means no material instrument can see the soul. But it is so powerful because it's so subtle that all the capabilities which we had in our body is the energy is coming from that soul. And that's why you see like heart is the source, right? We say like when the person has a heart attack, simply he dies because the soul leaves the heart and goes out. So one question I had like in this regard, maybe you can say, when there is a heart transplant, like when now doctors of medical have advanced, so that time, what happens to the soul then? Because they are changing the heart of person who has already died and putting into another person whose heart is not functioning well. Do you know what will happen? Because soul is residing in the heart. We discussed. So what will happen to the soul in that case when the heart transplant is going on? Any just a guess. Try if you want to logically.
So Prabhuji, if like the transplant is happening, the person who has like died, their heart is being transplanted into the heart of a person who's alive, right?
Correct.
So the person who has passed away already, like their soul would also like leave, right, with them. So
Yes.
it's just actually an organ that is left. So
Yes.
does not mean you're transplanting the soul.
Correct. So let me explain you. So as you rightly said, person who has died, meaning his soul has left his body, meaning it's now just simply material, it's an organ. But that now when the organ is put into the alive person, meaning his heart is still having a soul in it, and we are replacing that heart with the heart of person who has died, right? So in that heart, the soul is there. So when the heart transplant is going, the soul from the alive person actually comes out, because when they put the anesthesia, everything put down, kind of we are in a sleeping mode, like the person is in a kind of full sleep. He is not conscious of anything. So soul of that alive person actually comes out, and when they transplant and heart, everything is done, then it enters back. So from outside, it is watching everything. And that's why many people you would have heard has almost a near death experience, meaning they think they are almost dead, but somehow they came back because the soul has come back and they remember somehow. Some people, most of the people don't remember, but some people do remember. If you look on the internet on near death experiences, you will find many of the stories of people explaining that they were in this time, they went somewhere, and then they were watching what was happening to their body, and then they were alive. Now, if God forbid, if things doesn't go well in the operation, and that person's age is about to done, like his time is over, then the soul just leaves, and then we say doctors claim after that the operation is not successful and the person has died. So that's what exactly happens, right? So, and then we discuss about that. So there is a soul which is we, and we discuss about super soul which is called Paramatma. So both of them have a same quality exact, but Paramatma is you can say in quantities much more potencies than a spirit soul. So soul is only cognizant of the body in which it is there. For example, we just know about our own body, right? I cannot understand or know anything about, let's say, Siddharth Prabhu's body or Kintu's body. I cannot know what emotions or what thoughts are going in others' body. But Paramatma or Super Soul knows about everyone, because it's there, it's sitting right beside the soul in the heart. And we discussed that it's accompanying the soul from time immemorial. And then whenever we changes the bodies, then Super Soul accompanies the soul and goes and travels with us. So that means we cannot say that nobody is watching us. Sometimes people think, okay, I can do this, nobody's watching me, right? Nobody will get to know, but somebody is watching us constantly, is accompanying us in bad time, good time. So that is the compassionate nature of our Supreme Lord, that he does not leave us alone to struggle in this material world. He's accompanying us wherever we are going, like our what you can say, like a shadow. But he's just watching us and thinking when this soul will turn towards me, like when he will inquire and turn towards me. And when an appropriate time comes, then the Super Soul knows our intentions, knows our desires. Because Super Soul, we only know us based on this lifetime. The maximum you can go back is when you may be 4 or 5 years old. Before that, you may not even remember, right? Forget about remembering the past life. We can't even remember our future current life. But the Super Soul has seen all our previous lives, right? What we have done in previous life, all that he knows, from where we are coming from and where we are going, and what are our desires, innermost desires, which we even don't know. So by connecting all those dots, the Super Soul understands much better. That's why sometimes we feel like, oh, I am in this difficult situation. Oh, why God did this to me? But we have to understand, if we are part and parcel of the Lord, and we are the children of the Lord. So no parent will do any harm to their children, right? Intentionally. Sometimes we go through this bad situations that is not coming from the Lord. That is our karmas only. We'll discuss about when we discuss the karma topic. But this bad phase and good phase, Krishna says, is like a day and night, right? Nobody wants troubles, but troubles do come, misery do come in life. Similarly, without even asking, good things also come in life. So, right? So that is the position of soul. Then we discussed that the soul is covered with the subtle body. There are two bodies. One is the gross body, which is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Okay, these are the 5 elements. So when you put the person, like there are different processes like cremation. All these 5 elements go back to the nature, right? It's all done. Now there is a subtle body which is inside our body, which is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. In Hindi, we can say mind as man, intelligence as buddhi, false ego is ahankar. Okay, sometimes people mix these things. And brain, which we see, brain which is there, it's material. It's the place, it's the sitting place for this mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? But mind, intelligence, false ego is subtle. We cannot see mind, we cannot see intelligence. And then we discussed that the role of mind is just to generate thoughts. It keeps generating thoughts. On an average, a person generates 60,000 thoughts in a day. And if you are not associating with saintly people, or if not attending satsang, then 80% of those thoughts would be negative. That's why it's very, very important for everyone to associate with saintly people, to read Bhagavad Gita, because then our thoughts will become positive. And that's how positivity comes. So the mind role is keep generating thoughts. Okay, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want this. And then intelligence is a kind of a gatekeeper, which filters those thoughts, and they say, okay, no, I will act upon this. This is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. So that is the intelligence. False ego is our ahankar. There is 2 kinds of egos, false ego and real ego. We are in this material world just because of our false ego, like me, the thing which identifies, okay, I am this body, this is mine, this is my family, this is my home, this is me, only me. That selfish me is false ego. The moment that false ego goes, we actually become eligible to go back to the spiritual world. So that false ego is there in everyone, but the degree of false ego is different in different people. Some may have very thick false ego, some may have less, but it's there. We cannot say, as long as a person is in the material world, that means he has all these three. And then we discussed, this is all what we discussed. So let's start today. This is just a recap for what we discussed last time. Today we'll discuss about the important topic of the second thing, which we say the Bhagavad Gita talks about, is Ishwar. Okay, so this is living entities is called Jivas. Jiva. Jeev. In Hindi, we also say Jeev, right? Jeev. Jeev means it's a tattva. It's a tattva. We have to understand from the tattva perspective. Jeev tattva is a tattva. So all the everyone in the material world is Jeev. Okay. For example, plant, ant, animal, everyone is Jeev, everyone has soul in it. And there is we discussed also, there are 8.4 million species. And a Jiva revolves in this 8.4 million species constantly. So, and this human form of life is the topmost, right? After revolving in that 8.4 million species, we come to this human form of life, which is very, 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 very precious. Shastra says, Manushya Janma is very, very precious. Two things are very, you can say, rare. One is to get the human body, and second is to get the association of saintly people, sadhu sangha. These are the two most rare of the rare things. So when the super soul becomes happy, or super soul, you can say, wants to bestow his mercy upon the soul, then he connects the soul to the books, or to the spirituality, or to the people who knows about it. That is the way of showing kripa. Sometimes people think that having a lot of money, having a high education, बोलते हैं भगवान की कृपा है हमारे पर घर में सब कुछ है, right? But that is not real kripa. Real kripa comes when we get the association of saintly people, when we get the association of sadhus, and when we get attracted to hear these conversations. Because sometimes we may get association, but from internally our heart is not there, it's not getting attracted. That means, so that is the real kripa of mercy. Because all other things in this life will remain here when we go. Everyone has a lifespan, and nobody can live here forever. So everything else, family, relatives, friends, your high education, your material bank balance, your house will remain here. Nothing will go with you. Only thing which will go with you is your karmas, right? And we'll discuss that how by changing our consciousness. That's why this process is called Krishna consciousness, which means Krishna Bhavna, Bhavna Amrit, meaning just by changing our consciousness, we can elevate ourselves and go to a better destination. Okay, with that, let's discuss today's topic. So again, I'll ask those who can come on camera, because this is going to be very interesting and interactive. And first, I want to get a view of what you understand, like who is Bhagwan or who is Ishwar. What is your understanding? Just not those who have attended the course, but in general. For example, let me ask Hemant ji. Hemant ji is the most elderly here. What is your understanding, that what is Ishwar, Bhagwan, like? If you can just say in 1 or 2 lines.
Ji, thank you, Prabhuji. For me, Ishwar is a supreme power to whom I pray every day for the wellness of my soul,
yes,
and for the souls of others. That includes my family and others. So I pray for them as well. And I'm hoping that the prayers are heard, and that the God the good spirit will guide me in the right path at all times. So even when I'm going out, I will pray to God and say, hey God, I'm just going to go out, so please come with me. And I know he's always with me, but just the same, I'll say that so that I can avoid any ill things that can happen while
Yes.
I'm out or while I'm driving. So far in my life, he has blessed me in
Very
that way and kept me safe, um, in my family, and for those who I pray. So
very
I
nice.
believe in that, and it's like everybody else, nothing special. But I do pray to him when I wake up. There are 5 short prayers. Then after I shower, there is a Ganesh Puja, and then before I go to bed, I make sure that I thank the Bhagavan for giving me a beautiful day. And then I do believe that if the God does not wish you to wake up, you won't wake up the next day morning.
That's
And
true.
so I
Oh, you got on mute. Sorry.
wake up in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. Because when our time is over, no matter how hard you try, you can try. Even if you have billions of dollars, you cannot
Yep,
buy a single minute more
that's right.
than what you are supposed to get. That's why this life is very, very precious, human life. Sometimes people misuse this life, and you know that the gravest of the gravest sin which anyone can do is committing suicide.
Oh my
Sometimes
God.
people get fed up in life and they think of giving up everything and they commit suicide. In Shastra, it's mentioned that person has to suffer a lot, because you cannot just destroy this body which is given to you by nature by your own will. You have given a certain time to spend in this body, 70 years, someone 60 years, 50 years, 100 years, 80 years. So you cannot misuse your free will to destroy this body, thinking that you will escape the sufferings. You will suffer more, because for whatever time is left, you first of all you won't get the body, so you will be revolving in as a just with a subtle body, and that is called that bhoot pret, right? They which revolves around, and then if you get a mercy, you will be put into the lower species, and you have to suffer for a long time. So that's very, very important. Sometimes I see when I hear this news that young people in India, particularly under so much, um, you can say pressure. Okay, some person does not make it to the college or university or IITs. They just commit suicide for a small reason, very small reason. And then I think that what is missing in our society or in our education system is this spiritual knowledge. Because had this person known that just entrance into a society, into a university or a college is not the end of life, then that person will not take his life. Very good. Anyone else wants to comment about Ishwar Bhagwan? What your understanding is? Maybe Dipti ji, you want to say?
Yes, Prabhu. I'm doing a confession here by saying that when I started, like when I was a small child, I used to pray to God as if he or she is like a wish granting jewel. And that's what I understood as a child. But then when I grew up and I started understanding, the cause and effect, like what you're doing is what you see in front of you, whether it's karma, whether it's your causes you're creating. But then when I joined Bhagavad Gita classes long time ago, I started realizing more deeply that it's just not a wish granting jewel. It's more than that. It's a perfectionist form of human life, or perfectionist form of a being, if I can say, which you try to see in everybody you meet, right? But you don't get that, and that's where the dissatisfaction starts. So and so that was my understanding. But slowly, gradually, I started getting more understanding of what Hinduism is, and which is not what Bhagavad Gita is about. It's about more about self-realization, more about understanding what you are, and what you are going to be is what you have done in this life or the past. But then the question comes is, how can I change my karma? And that's where I got the answer through Bhagavad Gita, is by surrendering to God, Krishna. And by surrender, it does not mean that you say, hey, God, I'm here for you. But surrender means that you be of service to Krishna, and you give beyond, like that joy comes to you. You don't have somebody to tell you that this is what you have to do. That's my understanding. Thank you.
Very well. So let's now discuss about Ishwar. So literal meaning of Ishwar is controller. Okay. If you go look at any dictionary or anything, so that is the literal meaning, controller. Anyone who is controller is a Ishwar. Okay. So in that regard, we have many controllers, because there is a controller for wind god. That's why I say wind god, Vayu Devta, sun god, Surya Devta, Indra Devta responsible for rain. So there are different departments. But then there is something called Parameshwar. Parameshwar, right? Ishwar, Parameshwar. Param means supreme. Ishwar means controller. So there is definitely a supreme controller, right? So that is Parameshwar. So these are the meaning of Ishwar, Parameshwar. And then we will discuss what scripture says who is Parameshwar. It's not that I am saying or you are saying. It's what the scripture says, and the great personalities like Brahma says, Shivji says, who is the Parameshwar, right? So let me just share my screen now quickly. Okay. And then, so we understand these two terms, Ishwar and Parameshwar. Ishwar is controller, Parameshwar is supreme controller. Okay, let me see. Now we'll discuss about the term called Bhagavan, because there's another term, Bhagavan, right? So you see my screen. Now all of you can see my screen.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. Okay. So the technical definition of Bhagavan comes in Vishnu Puran 6.5.47. This is the words. Ashwarasya samagrasya viryasya yashashaha shriya jnana vairagya syo chaiva sannam bhaga itin ganaha. So Bhagavan actually means, that's why I was saying those who understand Hindi, it will be easier to understand. Ashwarya means opulence, riches. Okay. Viryasya, vir the strength. Yasha means yash, like your fame. Shriya means wealth. Jnana means all knowledge. Vairagya means renunciation. One who has all this in full, 100% full, all these 6 opulences in full, that is called Bhagavan. Bhagavan means who possesses these six opulences in full, all riches, all strength, all influence or fame, all wisdom, all beauty, all renunciation. Okay, that is the meaning of Bhagavan. Now you may see someone may have some riches, but nobody can claim to have all these 6 opulences in full, right? Some may have some strength, some may be very powerful, maybe very famous, but not all 6 at the same time. So the one personality who has all this, Aishwarya Samagrasya means completely in full, 100%. You cannot ask for more. So everything in full, that is called Bhagavan. That is the meaning of term Bhagavan. See, if you know Hindi, Dhanvan means one who is having dhan. Dhan means wealth. Van means a holder of that wealth. Dhanvan. So the one who is having dhan is called Dhanvan. Then we call Charitravan, one who has a good character, Charitravan. So Bhagavan means, Bhag means opulences, Van means the occupier or holder of all those opulences in full, all 6 opulences. And this is not something which is given by any material person. This is coming from Vishnu Puran, and this is the definition. Now let's go to understand that who is this personality. So now we understand there is Bhagavan. Before I go and define who is that, so let's see now supreme, like if there is a supreme person who is the controller of everything, not just this universe but all universes, then that person must be one person only, right? You cannot have multiple person, because, for example, I give you an analogy. Like we have a country called Canada, India. So there are some controllers, some maybe a controller, a mayor at the city level. Then you have a MPP at the provincial level, a controller, kind of a representative, authoritative. Then you have a MP at the province level, right? And then you have a someone authority at the country level, prime minister. So there are different levels of control, but we cannot, but like we cannot say that the supreme one, prime minister, would be only one for that country, right? Similarly, if we talk about the whole material creation, there are different controllers, and we'll discuss more in detail. But then the supreme controller can be only one. So that means there can be only one Parameshwar, supreme personality, one Bhagavan. There cannot be hundreds of Bhagavan, or my God is different, your God is different, or that God is different. That is all misconception. There is only one God, supreme God. Now, question comes then, why people fight about the God? Okay, your God, my God, this God. There are so much quarrel that your religion is superior, my religion is this, right? So what is why this confusion if there is one? So I'll give you an analogy now. I'll just stop sharing my screen. So I just need one person. Venkat Prabhu, can you come on screen and unmute? So I call Venkat Prabhu as Venkat. So now, Prabhu, what did your children call you?
In Telugu, Nana.
Okay. And what did your mother will call you?
Mother will call me in Telugu only, like the nickname Papoda something. Yes.
Okay. So that means your personality is same, but different people are addressing you with different names, right? I know you as Venkat. Your children know me as your father, and call you differently. So and same, I give you another analogy. There is a substance called water, right? Now, English people, those in Western may call water. In Hindi, I am Hindi native speaker. I may call same substance as pani or jal. In Telugu, what you will call water?
Nilu.
Lilo.
Nilu.
Nilo. Okay.
Nilu.
Okay. So the substance is same, object is same, but different people calling different. That's exactly what is happening today. The supreme personality is same personality. Different people are just calling with different names. Okay. And then they are fighting. Okay, my God is superior, and those who are not following this are all inferior, or my God is superior. The Supreme Lord is one. It's established by all the faith, all scriptures, but it's just the different names which we are referring to that Supreme Personality. Okay. So that means there is only one Supreme Lord. There is no concept of many gods. Like gods could be many, like as I was saying, even we refer to Surya Dev as God, but they come under the category of Devi and Devtas. There are 33 crore Devi Devtas who are still under the category of Jeev Tattvas. They are not eternally Devi Devtas like this Indra Dev or Surya Dev or Vayu Dev. They are occupying a post. Today they have given the administrative in charge of the department of taking care of air. That your duty is to make sure that air is available for all the people in this universe. Water is available for everyone. But that doesn't mean that eternally they will be taking care. There is a personality sitting there on top, Indradev. It's a post. For example, today we had a prime minister here in Canada, Trudeau. That doesn't mean that after 5 years he won't change, right? So it's post. Like that, there is a post in this material world to run the affairs of that material world. Okay. But then when their time is over, again, because they are soul, they will die, they will leave the body, and they may get some other body, some other person will take the post, and then this affair keep going on and on and on. However, their lifespan is much larger than us. Like a typical human person can live 100 years, they can live many thousands and thousands of celestial years. So that's the difference. Their lifespan is very high. but the supreme controller is still one. Okay, and now I will disclose who is that supreme controller. And this is again not me. This is again from Shastras. So let me again share my screen. Here, share. Okay, so we understood Bhagavan. Next is, what is the supreme controller? So this is coming from Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita is a scripture written by Lord Brahma. Brahma is the first creator, secondary creator. He's the most intelligent, or you can say the most advanced personality in this universe, right? So what he says, he said, Ishvara Parma Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. This is Brahma Samhita 5.1. What is he say? Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. Satchit Anand Vigraha. He has an eternal Satchit, blissful spiritual body. Sat means he has eternal. Okay. Chid means full of knowledge. Anand means full of bliss. So he has a body which is spiritual, which is eternal, blissful, spiritual body, Vigraha. While our body is not like that. We are not like, our soul is Sachidanand Vigraha because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but our body is a cause of misery. Like when there is a change in the temperature season, we get cold, we get fever. So where is the happiness? So soul will not catch like this. If someone has spiritual body, he will not be affected by any of the material miseries. Now next go, what do you say? Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karan Karanam. So he is the origin of all. That means everything you can see in material world comes from him. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. That is Sarva Karan Karanam. That he is the Karan of all the other Karan. He is the cause of all other causes. That means he has no other origin. Like there, you cannot say that Krishna came from this. He is the original source. Okay. So this is coming from Brahma Samhita. Now, so this is Lord Brahma attesting to this, that yes, Lord Krishna is the supreme. Next, I will show you, even Shivji also says in Srimad Bhagavat Puran, who is the supreme. So I found one wonderful website I will share later about to understand this Bhagavan. Let me just show here, who is God or Bhagavan. So it has all the wonderful verses, who is God. So there is a terminology which I made you understand, that understanding the meaning of Bhagavan. This verse is there, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya, Vishnu Puran. Okay. Then 6 opulences of Krishna, all this is there. Each opulence there is a verse. So let's go to now Bhagavad Gita and see what Krishna says. So very famous verse in Bhagavad Gita is chapter 5, verse number 29, where Krishna himself attests that he is the Supreme Lord. So let's discuss this. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwara suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim rachati. So here Krishna says that he is the Bhokta. Bhokta means beneficiary, right? Yagya tapasam. All the yagyas which we do, all the tapasya, penances which anyone do, he is the beneficiary. And then he says, I am the Sarvalok. Sarvalok means all the planets. All this, not just this Earth planet, all other planets and all other universes, and even spiritual planets, spiritual worlds. Maheshwara, I am the Maha Ishwar. I am the Supreme Lord of all the planets. Now he's saying by himself, Sarvaloka Maheshwara. And then next he says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Suhridam means he's the benefactor. He's the best. He's the, you can say, the well-wisher of everyone, of all the living entities. And not just well-wisher, he's the ever well-wisher, like the most. And then Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. If one knows this, then he will not suffer from material miseries. Just by knowing this truth, one will not suffer from material miseries. and he will achieve peace. So Prabhupada, who wrote this Bhagavad Gita commentary, he says this is the peace formula. If one can just follow this, then there will not be any problem in the world. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Okay, so here Krishna himself comes. He says that he is the supreme, he is the Sarvaloka Maheshwara, and he is the well-wisher of everyone, not just simple well-wisher, best well-wisher. You cannot even imagine how much he has affection for all the living entities, right? Because he is the eternal father. Now, children may forget their parents, but parents will never forget the father, their children, right? Sarva Bhutanam, of all, everyone. Now, let's see another verse from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna attests to this. It's called, that shows our position. I think it's in chapter 15 or something. Yeah, this one. This is very nice find I found, where everything is there in one place. Sarvasya Cham Hidi Sannavishto. Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Okay, so I'll go to Bhagavad Gita 15:15. 15:15. Because sometimes people say where it's mentioned that Krishna is the Bhagavan. So here I am giving you all the proofs from scriptures. The problem is today people don't read or understand or discuss scriptures. Had it be there, then nobody can make anyone fool of. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannavisto madha smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krid veda vit eva chaham. So he's saying here that I am seated in everyone's heart. I told you, right? There is a Paramatma who is seated in everyone's heart. So he's saying that is me. I am sitting. Krishna is saying this. I am sitting in everyone's heart. And from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Right? So Krishna is giving, because he is the source of giving us remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. It's not we. Sometimes some people become so proud. Okay, I can do this. I am so knowledgeable. I have this much capability. It's not you. It's actually Krishna is giving you that ability to remember and forget. Like we forget. Nobody knows about past lives, right? So Krishna is making us forget, because if we keep remembering all our past lives, we will not be able to live. We'll be so much, okay, this happened to me, or this, that happened. So remembrance, knowledge coming from Krishna again. And then he says, by all the Vedas, there are 4 Vedas, right? What is the purpose of knowing all the Vedas? By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So he is saying here that the purpose of knowing all the Vedas is to know me. And indeed, I was the one who compiled all the Vedanta. And I am the knower of all the Vedas. So that is the last thing. Where Krishna is again attesting to this fact that yes, he is the supreme. And he is the supreme controller. And he's seated in everyone's heart. Sarvasya cham hridi sannavishto. Okay. Let me see. So I will share this link. You can read at length and go to this different verses. There is another one. Ete chamsa kalha pumsa krishnastu bhagwan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam ridyanti yuge yuge. So now I'll show you what is the position of, then you may ask, the position of Brahma, Shivji, Ganesh. There are so many Vayu Devta. What is their position? Like, who are they? Like, okay. This is Padma Puran. Harir eva sadradhyan sarva deveshwaram itare brahma rudraya navaj ayam kadachana. Only Sri Hari Krishna should be worshipped, master. Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods never violate this principle at any time. So now I'll show you something which we'll discuss later. So far, any questions? Anyone? Are you following whatever I say?
Prabhuji, you said Bhagwan has 6 opulences,
Yes.
and so Parmeshwara is the supreme controller. So he has all these 6 opulences, plus he's
Yes.
the beneficiary of all of
Yes.
everything in this world, right?
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
so then why do we have this category? Why don't we just have one name like Bhagwan, or why do we have
Good.
Parmeshwara? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, good question. Now that is the next I will explain. For that, we have to understand whole, like, lot of things to understand why there is not one, and like we'll understand now. Any other question? So now another question may come that other faiths, for example, Mohammedans, they consider Allah is the supreme, right? Christians say Christ is the supreme. Although everyone understand that there is someone supreme, Jewish say Jehovah is the supreme. So why and then what is this all this thing? Answer, any answer anyone would like to answer? And Bhagavad Gita and all say Krishna is the supreme. Like Krishna himself say I am the supreme. So how to understand or reconcile these things?
I think we had to follow, as you describing, scriptural evidences,
Okay.
right? That
Yeah.
is the one thing.
So as I mentioned, all of them are right. So as I mentioned, when I was referring to Venkat Prabhu, I am calling him Venkat. Someone else may call him father or this, that, right? So all of these people are referring to same personality, but they are calling with different names. We call it as Krishna. Mohammedans call the same personality as Allah. Christians call the same personality as Christ. Jewish call the same personality as Jewish. Prabhupada explains this fact in the book called Science of Self-Realization. And if one can understand this fact, then everyone will be in a peace, in harmony, that we are all referring to the same personality. It's just the different names. So then there would be no fight. If you read this book, Science of Self-Realization, here, understanding Krishna in Christ, there is a whole chapter. And Prabhupada says the name is the same. Krishna or Christ is the same personality. Actually, see here, Prabhupada, what is the meaning of word Christ? Christ comes from the Greek word Christos, meaning the anointed one. Christos is the Greek version of word Krishna. You understand? Christos actually is the Greek version of word Krishna, and then later it becomes Christ. So Christ and Krishna is same personality. When an Indian person calls on Krishna, he often says Krishna. Krishna is the Sanskrit word meaning attraction. So when we address God as Christ, Krishna or Krishna, we are indicating to the same and all attractive supreme personality. Okay. So everyone is following the same personality, is just referring to with different names. Okay. And then they have, this is the conversation between Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, and Father Emmanuel, who is a priest. Somewhere it's written here. In Frankfurt, this was a conversation. Yeah. So there they were discussing about this topic. Okay. And with Jesus, who is the Jesus? Jesus never claimed to be he is the God. He says, I am always the Son of God. He said, his father, I think Jesus as the Son of God has revealed to us the actual name of God, Christ. We can all call God. Okay. So Jesus is the Son of God. Same who is the Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad is, again, he says he's the messenger of the God. So these are all come under the category of Guru Tattva, meaning they are the ones who came here to propagate this message of the God. But under different time, place, circumstances, message was kind of different. You cannot teach people same message at different times. It depends on the recipients also, right? For example, now you're all like, I cannot explain someone the concepts of university level if he does not understand the ABCD, right? It would just go over the head. So that was the thing. So answer is Christ, Allah, Krishna, all referring to the same personality. Okay. Now I see someone has a question. 1 second. Yeah.
I had a question, Prabhuji. So,
Yes.
I mean, like you said that if it's the same God and the, same message, but like scripturally, why are certain practices like prescribed differently? So, in like in the Bhagavad Gita, it's clearly, there is an indication of the type of food one is supposed to consume, the
Yes.
method in which one should consume food, also in the yoga philosophy. But in the Bible, like it clearly mentions that anything and everything which is created by God is like available for human beings to consume. So why is that such a big disparity in terms of prescription?
Okay. So, yeah, so I think what you're referring to is in Bible, it says, but that's not, Prabhupada has this conversation again. In Bible, there is an injunction that thou shall not kill. Okay. Thou shall not kill means you should not kill anyone, including animals. That means eating non-vegetarian. Jesus also prohibited that thou shall not kill. He did not say thou shall not kill only humans. Included everything, but over the period of time, the message gets diluted and misinterpreted. And then many people says today, like those who are following Christianity, that message is that only you can kill anyone, but not just humans. But if everyone is a soul, it's just a covering. So when you're killing anyone, if you're killing a human, or if I am killing an animal, the karma, the pap or the sin is same, equal, because you are killing someone, you're taking someone's life, right? Just for your pleasure of your taste buds. You cannot do that. So the injection is same. It's just, you can say, over the period of time, got diluted. But Prabhupada had many conversations, and the injunction is that even in Christianity, thou shall not kill, not anyone. No innocent person should be killed. Like we do not even have right to kill anyone, not even a small ant. We should not kill intentionally, right? Now, what our scriptures says, Bhagavad Gita clearly says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Krishna says that one should. Let me go to that verse itself. That makes it more easier. And want to go to exact verse. That's inside. Yeah, 926. So here Krishna says that if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Okay. So categories are leaf. Leaf means all leaves, all vegetables, everything. Flower, fruit, or water. It does not say that one offers me with love and devotion an animal, and I will accept it. So clearly the categories are defined by Krishna himself, like leaf, flower, fruit, water. And that key thing here is that all these things are actually only belong to Krishna. So when we offer him, we are offering his creation to himself. But only thing which does not belong to Krishna is love and devotion. That belongs to us. So actually Krishna relishes this love and devotion which we offer. He's not worried about leaf, flower, fruit, or water. Actually, that belongs to him only. That's higher principle. So, but the point here is that the things which are mentioned clearly in our scriptures is that one should not be taking any non-vegetarian food. Okay, that is the greatest sin. Like person needs to suffer, I don't know for how many lifetimes, just out of, and many people doing that in ignorance, unfortunately. But nobody can claim that because I was ignorant, I was doing it. You have given this human form of life to know about these things. You cannot claim that you are ignorant. For example, you come to Canada, And you cannot claim that I don't know the traffic light rules, or I don't know the rules of this country, and then I commit offenses, and you will be punished. Similarly, there is a fire, right? An innocent child puts his hand in the fire, fire will act and burn it. He cannot say that I don't know about this. So the principles are there, but in our scripture is clearly in black and white mentioned that one should not be killing anyone, or one should just take food, like vegetarian food, not even egg. Actually, egg is also considered non-vegetarian. Sometimes people debate, okay, another class is created, but that there is the reasoning behind all this, right? Because first of all, all this non-vegetarian egg, all are in the mode of ignorance. These are all tamaguna, tamoguna food, mode in ignorance. They are not good for the body, and they are not meant for human consumption. God has given enough food for everyone, and there are enough varieties of plants, vegetables, pulses, all that is available in abundance. So what is the need to kill anyone, right? So when we discuss more about, I will discuss this topic separately, a whole class about this, because whatever we eat, it affects our consciousness. If we take garbage in, then our consciousness will become garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. If we take good things in, then our consciousness will improve and we'll have good thoughts. So whatever we take as food has direct impact on our consciousness. So that's why we need to be careful about what we eat. And definitely, if we take any non-vegetarian food, which means there is a killing involved, then we become, you can say, partaker, or we become a partaker of committing that sin. Even though one may claim, I did not kill that animal, someone else killed, I just ate. But you still become a partaker of that, and you are given equal punishment as the one who killed it in the first place. Okay. Any other question? Okay, now I will explain the next part which Diptiji was asking. For that, I need to give you the view of the whole creation, spiritual world, like what is the position of Krishna, how all that. It will take me a while. Maybe we continue next, but let me share something, the description of the entire creation, not just material creation. I'm talking about whole creation. Then only you will understand that. Okay. So let me open a screen. Here is that picture. Here. All of you can see this picture, which I'm saying. I will zoom in, but at least you can see, right, my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, okay. So there is something called material creation, okay? And there is something called spiritual creation, spiritual world, which sometimes people say Bhagavad Dham, Vaikuntha. You may have heard these names, Vaikuntha, Golok, Vrindavan. Spiritual world and material world. There are two different worlds. Okay, we are in the material world. Now, if I consider whole creation as 100%, material creation is only 25%, 75% is spiritual creation. That means spiritual creation is 3 times more than material creation. Okay. And for material creation, contains millions of universes, not just one universe. Our universe is just one of those millions of universes. And within that universe, there are millions of planets. Okay. And within those billions of planets, ours is just one planet called Earth. Okay. And so that is how it is. So I'll just go and explain now. First, I will start where I start. Yeah, I'll start from spiritual world. So Lord, as I was saying, Krishna is the origin of everything. Okay. So Krishna is the origin of everything. So Krishna first expands. He expands. His immediate first expansion is called Balram. He expands, basically. Baldev expands. Okay. And from Baldev or Balramji, all the Nitya Siddha, meaning eternally related associates, meaning all the jivas, Nitya Siddhas are also jivas who are residing in the spiritual world, like eternally. They come from him. And then Baldev ji further expands and as Narayan, and from Narayan, first quadruple expansion comes. You may have heard these names: Pradyumna, Vasudev, Anuruddha, Sankarshan. So these are all expansions of Krishna. So Krishna keeps expanding. So first expansion is Balram, and then Narayan, then Vasudev. There is a first quadruple expansion: Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshan. Each of them were part of Dwarka Leela, if you know. Pradyumna was Krishna's son only, Aniruddha also. Sankarshan is that Sankarshan, you can say that's Sheshnag Sankarshan, right? So these are all further expansion. Now, next expansion from Sankarshan, there is another expansion, which is second expansion, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, and Mahasankarshan. Okay, and this is, I am showing the spiritual world. This is the eternal abode of Krishna, is called Golok Vrindavan. You hear, read this thing, Golok Vrindavan. The Vrindavan which is there in material world, it's present even today, where people go in the state of Uttar Pradesh, close to Mathura, is actually a spiritual place. It's an expansion of this Golok Vrindavan in the material world. But the actual one, the eternal one, is in the here, where Krishna resides eternally as a Sham Sundar, in the form of Sham Sundar. And this is all coming from, again, Brahma Samhita verse 1, verse 6. Based on those verses, this beautiful picture about spiritual world was created based on the verses of Brahma Samhita. Okay, so there is like many dhams there: Golok Dham, Mathura Dham, Dwarka Dham. So in each of those dhams, it's Krishna only who expands and enacts different pastimes, right? So Dwarka Dham, as we know, Krishna lives there as a king. He has all the opulence. So here Aishwarya is prominent, like he's like a revered as a king. However, in Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is like a ordinary cowherd boy, 15-year. His age is also there. He's always Kishore. That's why he's also, his another name is Kishore, and Radharani is Kishori. Kishore, Kishori. Krishna's age is eternally 15 years, 10 months. He does not grow older. You will never see a picture where Krishna will have white hair or white beard. Even when he was present 5,000 years back, he never grew old. Even though he was present for almost 125 years on material world, but he never grew old. So this is expansion. Okay, so there is Ayodhya Dham, where Lord Ram lives or eternally lives, is called Saket Dham. So again, Krishna expands, and in another form, he expands as Ram. It's Krishna only, and eternally he resides there with Sita, Mother Sita, Lakshman, all his associates, Hanumanji. So that's Ayodhya Dham, so Mathura Dham, Dwarka Dham, Ayodhya Dham. All these places which we see here in material world are actually expansions of those places in the spiritual world. Okay, so this is Chit Jagat, Chit meaning spiritual world. Now in spiritual world, one of the things is everyone has this Chit Shakti, meaning consciousness. There is nobody in there who don't have consciousness. The Jad Shakti, which is like matter, which is a dead matter, which does not have consciousness, only is in the material world. There everything has consciousness. So even a stone has some consciousness. Even Krishna's sandal or footwear will have consciousness. His flute will have consciousness. Everyone is having consciousness, and they are kind of serving him in different things, different ways, right? And it's in the form of Golok Vrindavan is a lotus petal form. You see this nice lotus flower, and inside this lotus flower is Golok Vrindavan. All the petals are different, you can say, planets, spiritual planets. So this is his own personal dham, Golok Vrindavan. And then there is in this Mathura, Dwarkapuri, Ayodhya, all these are on the other, where Krishna only expands and resides. Okay, now let's come down. So the speciality of this dham is that it is predominantly by sweetness. There is a madhurya ras. It's called a madhurya dham. There is a quality of sweetness, like, okay, that is prominent. Exchange of sweetness in the relationships, everyone. Like there is no prominence of Aishwarya, meaning richness, in this dham particularly. Okay. Similarly, Krishna expands other way and he becomes Radharani. That's a Haladini Shakti or internal potency. It's Krishna only as Radha. He just expands. And then from Radharani, all other forms comes, like Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, all other Lakshmis which we see actually comes from Radha. So from the one end, Balramji's immediate expansion, and on the other end, Radharani. All the Shakti Tattvas we see, like all the Shaktis, they actually originate from Radharani. Okay, next go to, so this is about the innermost spiritual world. Next, there are Vaikuntha Loka. Okay, so all the Narayan expansions and eternal associates, they are in the Vaikuntha Loka. Like Vishnu, we hear this term Vishnu is another expansion from Sankarshan. All the Vishnu Tattvas expand. So as I was saying, there are millions of planets, right? Even in spiritual world, there are millions of planets. And each planet, there is a predominating deity. Like there is a planet for Narsingadev, Narsimha, like all Vishnu Tattvas, there is a planet. And so these are all Vaikuntha Lokas. Now here, the predominating thing is opulence. Opulence is very predominant here, as opposed to sweetness or madhurya. So that's why Vaikuntha Dham is also known as Aishwarya Dham. Okay. So here, all the residents here are four-armed. We have seen the pictures of Vishnu, the four-armed, Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma, right? They hold Shankh, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Everyone is four-handed. Even the residents are also four-handed. While in Madhurya Dham here, in Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is like us, like human, two-handed form, Sham Sundar form. We have seen in the temples, right? Exactly like that, two-handed form. Vaikuntha Loka, all expansions here, four-handed form, bluish form. You would have seen Vishnu's, all the different planets. Vishnuji is there, expanding. Even Buddha also has a planet. If I expand here, here you go, Buddha. Buddha is also a incarnation or Lord Krishna. Kalki, the next incarnation which is supposed to come in the end of Kali Yuga is Kalki. That's also there. All the incarnations have their own individual planets there. And with them, there is accompanying Lakshmi Jis, like Vishnu Lakshmi, Narsingh Lakshmi, Lakshmi Narsimha, we say like Lakshmi. So Lakshmi Ji, there are multiple millions of Lakshmis who comes, expands from Radharani, and they accompany each of the planets as with Narayan or Vishnu. Okay, so far so good. Now let's give more go further. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question. Is Aishwarya Dham also the spiritual world?
Yes, yes. It's part of spiritual world. Yes. The quality of spiritual world is Vaikuntha. If you know Hindi, Va means without Kuntha. There is no Kuntha. There is no anxiety. No Kuntha. Everyone is just peace, bliss. No Kuntha, no misery. No problem of old age, death. Nobody gets old. Everyone just lives for eternal. Actually, there is no past or future. It's like eternity. Time is just going. Everyone is just relishing. They are all serving. No, all these material faults, problems are not there. There is no Kam, Krodh, Moh, Mat, Aishwar, this thing. No lust, anger, greed. All these are not there in that spiritual world. Pure. So everyone is just, very beautiful description is there in Srimad Bhagavatam also about this lokas. Everyone, people are so rich. Everyone has their own airplanes. They don't go like us in cars or this thing. Everyone has their own airplanes. They just travel in airplanes. Imagine. So, and then there are wishful Surbhi cows. Surbhi, you have heard this name, cows, Surbhi cows, which give whatever you desire, they will give. There are Kalpavriksha trees. Like those trees can give you whatever you need. So all, like there is so much. Everyone is here having their own palaces, big palaces, because it's predominant Aishwarya Dham, predominated by opulence. Okay, opulence is also there in this Madhure Dham, but it's just that that feeling is not there, that awe and reverence, that people or citizens over there or residents over there, they don't think Krishna is the Supreme Lord. They just think he's just one of our friend. They play, or he's one of our beloved, or his parents are there. They just think he's our normal baby Lalla. They don't consider Krishna is the God. While here, there is a feeling of awe and reverence in Vaikuntha Dham, meaning there is a Lord Narayan, he has Lakshmi ji and residents here, they know he's the supreme, and there is a feeling of awe and reverence. That's the difference between Aishwarya Dham and Madhure Dham. Okay. Okay, next go further. So next there is a Dham, Kailash Dham, Sadashiv. It's again an expansion from Mahasankarshan, Kailash. It's an expansion of Vishnu Tattvas, Sadashiv. The Shivji which we see in the material world, which we relate to, is actually an expansion of Sadashiv. So there is a Kailash Dham, which is also in spiritual world. There is Parvati ji accompanying Sadashiv. Okay. So, and then there is this Brahma Jyoti, which is separating the material world with the spiritual world. So there is an effulgence, not Brahma Jyoti, sorry. So Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence, a stream of light coming from the body of Lord Krishna. So they don't need a sun there to get the light. So there is so much light which is coming from Krishna's body itself that there is no darkness there in that world. So all the planets, spiritual planets, are floating in that Brahma Jyoti. Okay, that is pervading all across. It's an impersonal bliss, impersonal feature of Lord. So many times you will hear about certain individuals or faiths who want to get merged. Okay, I want to get merged. They deny the personal feature of the Lord, but they want to merge in the impersonal feature. Okay, light. So that is their destination. They go in the Brahma Jyoti. But the thing is, they don't understand is that God has both impersonal and personal nature. Impersonal, it's his energy Brahma Jyoti, which is actually the light emanating from Lord's body, and he has also a personal form. You cannot have some energy and no one who is generating that energy, right? Like electricity is coming in our all of our houses. Now we have to trace back the origin. Like there must be some source from where the electricity is coming. We can't say that electricity is there, but there is nothing. Similarly, there is a light here coming. So there is a source. Sun is there, right? We can't say the light is there, but there is no personality or person generating that. So Brahma Jyoti is there, and then yeah. So then this Mahasankarshan expands further as Mahavishnu, or it's called Karunodakshayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu. Okay, and there is a river, Viraja river, which separates the material world and spiritual world. So Mahavishnu, you may have also seen this picture, like is lying on that ocean, causal ocean. He's also known as Karunodakshayi Vishnu, because this is known as Karan ocean. Okay, now from the body of Mahavishnu, from the pores of the body of Mahavishnu, universes emanates. Okay, these are material universes actually. So they say the glands of Mahavishnu impregnates the universes with the jivas and kala, eternal time. So actually all of us, actually who are in the material world, our origin comes from Mahavishnu. Like we, as soon as he glances over the mother nature, he impregnates that with all, and then impregnates with all the jivas and also the time, and that's how the creation starts. Just by his glance only, everything gets like in motion. He doesn't need to do anything, no hard work required. Okay, go, and this is all just, that is the Lord's energy. And who is he? He is actually expansion from Mahasankarshan. So Mahavishnu is expansion. But if you trace back the origin, everything we started from Krishna, right? Krishna to Balram, then Narayan, and then first quadruple expansion, Sankarshan, from Sankarshan, second quadruple expansion, from there Mahasankarshan, from Mahasankarshan to Mahavishnu. Okay, so he just glances, and there is only one Mahavishnu, okay, who is there. He's residing where? in a current ocean which separates the material world to the spiritual world. Now here is our universe, or one of the universes. So what happens? He again expands as a Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Okay, so he again expands and enters into the universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So now here, this Garbhodakshai Vishnu is there. He's residing in the Garbhodak ocean, which is the ocean at the line. And then from his belly, there is a lotus stem which originates. And then he's lying on the bed of Sheshnag, right? From his belly, this lotus flower comes. And on the top of the lotus flower is when Lord Brahma appears. Okay. So when Lord Brahma is the first first living being or first Diva on this universe, he's the first. When he comes, there is nobody, it's all empty. He's the first one. And then he performs, he doesn't know what to do. Like, why I'm here? Like, he's like, imagine like nobody, you just go to one country, nobody, you are only alone. What you are supposed to do is that doesn't know. So then he travels up and down in this lotus stem and he did not find anyone. So he's like kind of in a lost. Then he heard this sound, tap, 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 and then he do a tapa for several thousand years. He does a tapasya, and then Lord directly imparts the knowledge, all the knowledge directly from heart to heart, like a heart transmission, because Lord is sitting in everyone's heart. As I mentioned, he can do anything. So he gets all the knowledge, how to start the creation. And then Lord Brahma actually is the one who creates the creation. Okay. From Brahmaji, like Shivji, like from the eyes of Brahma, actually the Shivji comes. But Shivji is also kind of, as I was saying, expansion of this Sadashiv here. Where is that Brahma? Kailash. Sadashiv. So that's Shivji. Okay. And then Brahma we discussed. Then he creates all the planets. There are 14 planetary systems actually. Okay. So ours is Bhuloka. Okay. Earth planet. So there are 7 planets up. There is Bhuvar Loka. We say, right? Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. So Om Bhu Loka is Earth. Bhuvar Loka is a planet above us, or planetary system, not just planet. Bhuvar Loka, where Rakshasa ghost lives. Then there is Swarg Loka, which is the planet or planetary system where Indra has. So there are heavenly planets and there are 33 million demigods and demons also. Then Mahar Loka, Jan Loka, Tap Loka. Satyalok is the topmost planet where Lord Brahma's abode is there. Okay, so 7 planetary systems above us. And there are 7 down. That's why it's called 14 planetary system. Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, Patal. Many of you have heard this term called Patal, which is the lowest, more planetary system. Okay, and besides this Patal, there is a Pitralok and hellish planets. Nark Lok, you say, right? Nark, those who go to suffer, those who do Pap, they go to hellish planets to suffer. So these are all lower planets. But all these 14 planetary systems are contained in this lotus stem. Now you may question that how can it be possible, but it's possible. Some things are beyond our conception, but it's true. So because we are all part and parcel of Lord, so this whole creation is actually part of the Lord. When Lord Krishna showed his Virat Roop to Arjun, he saw everything in that Virat Roop, right? And same thing when Krishna opened his mouth to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda see all the planets revolving in the mouth of Krishna, and then finally he sees her picture also in that one of the things. So this is inconceivable potencies of the Lord, where everything is just contained in himself. Okay. Now coming to Garbhodakshai Vishnu, we discussed Brahmaji came, and then Brahma creates all these planetary systems, and he starts populating. And he creates Prajapatis, and their job is to create more progeny. That's how creation starts. And like every planet, there is a Manu. Many of you have heard Manu. He's a chief living personality, Manu. He controls, I think he lives here, he resides here, Maharloka. So, and so yeah, that's how it comes. Now, from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, there is another expansion called Shirodakshai Vishnu here, who resides in the Shir Sagar. Okay. And many times you may have seen when the Devtas are in trouble, like they are having a tough time, they were given a tough time by demons, like Rakshasas, they go to whom? Brahmaji, to asking for help, because Brahmaji is their grandfather. And together with Brahmaji, and they go to the Shir Sagar, on the bank of Shir Sagar here, and then they pray to Vishnuji. They can't directly go and see Vishnuji, but they pray here. So this is a spiritual, kind of a spiritual world within the material world. It's a small place where Shirodakshai Vishnu comes. Okay. And this Shirodakshai Vishnu is the one who enters into each and every atom of this universe. And he also expands as a Paramatma and enters into our heart. So this is the Shirodakshai Vishnu. When we say Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, there are three murtis or three deities presiding the world. So we are referring Brahmaji is Brahma. This Shirodakshai Vishnu is that Vishnu. Vishnu, and Mahesh is the Shiva. So he is the creator, secondary creator, and we say Vishnu is the maintainer and Lord Shiva will be the destructor. That's true. He is the secondary creator. Vishnuji, this Shirodakshai Vishnu, maintains everything. And when the Pralay comes at the end, devastation, then Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva destroys everything. That is there. Now, this is just one universe among unlimited material universes, right? So there are, let's say, millions of universes. Each universe will have one Lord Shiva, one Brahma, one Garbhodakshai Vishnu, one Shirodakshai Vishnu, because they are responsible for running the affairs of that universe. Okay. So like that, let's say if there is another bubble here, like this bubble will also have the same personalities. Shiva, Vishnu, Mahesh. That means there are many. But if we trace the origin, it all goes to the Krishna. So Krishna does not need to do anything. Krishna is simply enjoying there, like he does not have to worry about this because he's expanding, and his expansions are doing all the work. Okay. So now what is the position of our dear Devi Devtas, like 33 million? They are here. As I was saying, there is a heavenly planet where Indralok is there. So here, they are all responsible for running the affairs of this material world. They are authoritative representatives. For example, in our any organization, you have a structure, right? Someone will get a portfolio of water, someone energy, someone education department, all that. So same is the situation. So they are appointed as an authoritative representative of each of the departments, like air, water, fire, whatever, wealth. Like that, they are running the affairs of this material world. But as I mentioned, these are all posts. Once they complete their lifetime, their span, they also go and take another form, and someone else takes their form. Okay. So all this Devtas are falling. There are 33 million actually, as per the scriptures. 33 crore. 33 crore is 33 million. 1 crore is 10 million. 33 crore actually is 330 million. Okay. So that is where all the Devtas come. Now, there are different incarnations, but all the incarnations are simultaneously residing in Lord Krishna. As I was saying, we see Vishnu. There are so many Vishnus, right? Here itself, we counted how many Vishnus. There is one Mahavishnu, then there is Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and then there is Shirodakshai Vishnu. Okay, here, Shirodakshai Vishnu. There are three Vishnus. This Mahavishnu is only one, like it's not that there are many Mahavishnus, because he's the one who is residing on river Viraja, and from his body millions of universes come, but in each universe he expands as Garbhodakshai and Shirodakshai. So that means he expands further. So if there are millions of universes, these expansions are also like that. At the end, when this whole universe gets destroyed, or when the time is over and it's the time of annihilation, everything here goes into the body again in Mahavishnu. And when the next time for creation comes, everything again starts all over again, and the whole cycle continues. But within that, the jivas keep revolving. in these different planetary systems, and also they can go to another universe. We don't know where we go based on their karmas. If you do bad karmas, if your pap are more, you will go lower planetary system, and also you may have to go to hellish planets or Nark Loka for suffering. If your pious or punya are more, you may go upper planet, higher planetary system, where there is more facilities, more enjoyment, more this, that. But for us, both punya and pap are not required, because the goal of human life is to go from here, in material plane, and go here in the spiritual world, to be eternally be associating, because we are all eternal part and parcel of the Lord Krishna, and we should like goal is would be to go to the spiritual world where there is no looking back. Nobody should have to come back here, because no matter you go up to Brahma Loka, these miseries are there. Earth, this old age, birth, death, all these miseries are there in all the material planetary system. Okay, so now coming to the question that Diti asked, like what is why there is this difference, like Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is only one, as I say, like Krishna is the Bhagavan in the beginning, but Parameshwar, Param Ishwar is also him, but he expands. And this Paramatma actually is the correct terminology which is present in our body and residing here, and cognizant of everything. That is the expansion of Vishnu. So there are so many expansions. So that's why it's just same personality, but he expands into different forms to run the affairs of this. Okay, so that's the reason of like the word Paramatma is different and Bhagavan, like they are referring to same personality, because at the end of the day, all these expansions simultaneously resides in Lord Krishna, right? But Krishna does not have to come here to run the affairs of each material universe. Like he's there, like he has just expanded and just doing. You will never see Krishna carrying any weapons or anything. Have you seen? He just carries flute, because he's simply relishing, enjoying. He does not have to do anything. There are so many energies from Krishna which does all things without even doing. He does not ever carry any weapons or anything or anything. I think we went 15 minutes over, but we'll continue this discussion further. But I hope you get a glimpse of where we are. So right now we are here, you are here, you are in a Bhuvar Loka Earth planet, and within that Earth planet, we have so many continents, and within that continent, we have this small country called Canada, where we are sitting in the place in GTA, which is a minute. If you consider the whole scheme of things, this whole planet Earth is like a mustard seed in a bag of, you can say, the millions of mustard seeds. It's very small, actually. So I take a pause now. Any questions? Any comments?
Thank you,
We'll
Prabhu.
discuss
Yes.
this more.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
But I hope you understand. So this, all this description is actually mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam about the creation. Okay, it's not there in Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is considered an elementary. It just gives you a hint of spiritual world. Krishna does talk about spiritual world, that there is a spiritual world. He talks as it my dham, like my abode. But the description of his abode is there in Srimad Bhagavatam and Brahma Samhita.
Prabhuji, can you share this image that you were showing on the group, please?
Yes. I will share. I'll share this image. Okay. So now coming to your question, yeah, Rishabh Devji. Rishabh Devji actually is one of the expansion of Krishna himself. Like this, I have never heard cousin or anything, but he's the expansion of. He has again unlimited expansions, like as Narayan, Ram, Narsingh. There are 10 primary, which we say Dashavtar, which are mentioned, but there are in Bhagavatam first canto there are 23 mentioned, but he has unlimited expansions. Okay, so Rishabh Devji is one of them, and there is a pastime of Rishabh Dev instructing, I think, his sons in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's all I know about Rishabh Dev, that he's the expansion of Krishna himself. So that means there is no difference between Rishabh Devji's teaching and what Krishna instructs in Bhagavad Gita. Like if you go here, Rishabdev database, in Srimad Bhagavatam, I think in one of the chapters, there is an instruction of Lord Rishabdev.
Is it in the first canto, Prabhuji?
It mentions about Rishabdev, but the instructions of Rishabdev ji is not in first canto. Let me see which canto is that. Rishabdev. It's in first. Yeah, here. I was right. Rishabdev's appearance in the womb of Meru Devi, the king of Navi. So here is the Rishabdev's, and then there is a characteristic of Rishabdev. Lord Rishabdev's teaching to his son. Activities of Rishabdev. So you can, if you just read all this, and you will understand everything about Rishabdev. But he's Krishna himself.
Wow.
Came
Interesting.
one of the canto 5. Okay, and exactly it's given, like whenever Krishna appears, people think that he's taking a birth like an ordinary person, but that's not the case. Because see, we are forced to take birth as per our karmas, but Krishna is independent. He chooses his parents. He does not appear like we appear as a boom, like remaining there. He just appears and disappears out of his own will. He's not forced to appear, and he never have material body like us. He's always having a Rishabh. So you can always read about Rishabdev ji here. 3-4 chapters are there. Okay. Then it talks about the activities of King Bharat, on whose name this our great country Bharatvarsh was. Yeah, like there is a King Bharat also, who was the pious king. It all describes the description of that Bharat Maharaj. Not many people may know, because again I say, like, this habit or this science of reading scriptures has been lost somehow for last 200 years. But before that, everyone used to recite or read the scriptures. At least they were well versed. Okay. So I'm going to share this. Any questions, comments, anything before we wind up?
Lot of questions, Prabhu. Thank you so much. You've definitely increased my curiosity about where I live and how I live. Who am I?
Yeah.
I will definitely have a lot of questions for the next
Yes,
session.
definitely.
Yes.
Contemplate on this and see. Now we know what is our situation, right? We are very, you can say, minute, tiny, living in tiny city here with this little house, and we think we are very advanced. No. Like there is. So what we have to see is, the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is that first understand who we are, understand the position of Lord. These two things we understand. Now, what is the relationship between us and Supreme Lord? What is and how we can revive that relationship? Because right now we have forgotten that relationship because of the effect of material nature. So there is a process to revive that. And once it's fully revived, then we are eligible to go back to the spiritual world. So that is the goal, actually, to revive the relationship and ultimately achieve our destination. Now, Krishna also says that out of hundreds and thousands of millions of people, only very few will have this Bhunam Janmanam Ante Gyan Mam Mam Prapadya. They say after many millions and millions of births, there would be one very fortunate who will actually have this question, and he will try to inquire, and then he will get that blessing and mercy to achieve. Otherwise, all others are kind of simply rotting in this material world and simply have no goal or no understanding whatsoever. Completely lost, right? Just so like that. So yeah, so I would request, you can search more about it if you want to read yourself. There is Srimad Bhagavatam. There is this chapter called Creation. I think it's this Krishna is the source of all incarnations. List all other incarnation which I was saying to era 22 or 23. Like here, 8th incarnation was King Rishabh, which was that Rishabdev. That's where it's mentioned. And then Rishabdev activity, but there are more. There are tortoise in Kurma incarnation. There is Narsingh incarnation. There is the Vaman incarnation. All these incarnations are there, as I was saying. Like King Ram also appeared. And in different yugas, these personalities keeps coming. So, but Krishna as Swam Bhagavan, he rarely comes. He himself, for him to come is very special. Like he himself, when came from this spiritual world to material world and incarnated, like, so incarnation simply means whenever Lord comes and to the material world, that's called incarnation or avatar. Krishna is both the source of fountainhead of all incarnations, because all incarnation reside with him, but he himself comes only once in 8.4 billion earthly years. He doesn't come every cycle. So in that regard, this current period is very special, because 5,000 years back only Krishna comes as Swam Bhagavan and performed all these pastimes which we are able to relish and understand. And that's why he revived this message of Bhagavad Gita, which was lost before he appeared. So this particular time which is going on is very special. Even though we are in Kali Yuga, but for it's mentioned for devotees, it's not Kali Yuga, it's like as good as Satyuga, because this is kind of a golden period. It's a bonus. Next 10,000 years are like a golden period where the propagation of holy name and Krishna's name will be propagated throughout the world. And it's also mentioned in this specific time frame, the demigods or Devi Devtas are lined up and queued to take birth in the earthly planet here. Reason being, it's very easy just by following the process to go back to the spiritual world, right? So that's the process what needs to be followed. We'll discuss in further classes, but all what I want to say is that this is the right time. Like we are at the right place at the right time and the right opportunity. And yeah, just by understanding all this thing, you will be able to make progress. Okay, then if no further questions, then I think we can conclude. Anyone has any last question or comment? Let me see. If not, then thank you so much for joining, and we'll meet next Sunday. I will discuss more on this same topic about the Bhagavan. Next we discuss the qualities of the Bhagavan and further our relationship with Bhagavan as it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.